Record. Right. Okay.
Great.
I'm ready.
Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, click. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap. Okay. If it could stay that way, that'd be amazing.
It's great.
Okay, great.
Are you recording?
Yep.
Okay, good.
You're listening to the Two Gomers podcast, a show about two regular guys in their 40s embracing midlife, chasing healthy aging, and inviting a nation along for the run. This is episode 417, Empty Nest, for September 27th, 2024.
Welcome, everybody, to episode 417 of the Two Gomers podcast. This is Anthony speaking, one of those two aforementioned Gomers, coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio, with my friend Steven, all the way out in Flagstaff, Arizona.
Is Ohio the Midwest? Would you
Oh,
say?
yeah.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
great. And
Yeah.
how's it feeling out there, weather-wise?
Feels good. So I drove this time.
Oh, right.
Because I had to pick some stuff up,
Okay.
and that was a fun straight 10-hour drive straight north, pretty much,
Yeah.
and drove through the Smoky Mountains,
Uh-huh.
which was really pretty.
Okay.
And it slowly got a little cooler, but it's like probably 5 degrees less than Atlanta, maybe 10.
Okay.
So it doesn't feel much different.
So you didn't like enter a different world necessarily,
No.
weather-wise. I mean, where is it the autumnal equinox? No, tomorrow is the autumnal equinox, right?
Okay.
I think it
All
is.
right.
So everybody, summer's over. Uh, nation, brat girl summer is over. Or is it brat summer?
Brett, I don't know.
Okay, and I certainly know. I mean, listen, I know exactly what I'm talking about when I say brat summer. I have not asked
That
many
sounds
people to
familiar.
explain
I don't
this
know
to
what that
me
is.
and then
Mhm.
have them explain it again to me. No, that did not happen. I am hip, and so I understand exactly what I'm talking about when I say brat summer is over.
We're officially in fall. We said that last episode,
Yes. Yep, definitely. And even
prematurely.
even when we weren't, right, we weren't actually in fall, but we are now. And as I said, and I totally understand, brat summer is over. Uh
Nice.
Listener and friend of the show, Graylin, emailed us and asked us for our thoughts on brat summer. And I was just like thinking, don't ask us. I know, of course, that it is from a song by an artist named Charlie XCX, and of course, I know that I'm pronouncing that right. There is, I'm
Okay.
obviously not pronouncing that wrong, I'm sure. And so,
Not
Graylin,
possible.
we just can't help you. I don't really know what brat summer is. I know Kamala Harris is brat. I heard that, and I think that means something. I just, I just don't know what it means.
Okay, it says
Oh, good. Anthony's
um
googling it. I've tried this too, but I
says
can't get a hold on it.
to me a brat summer means not caring about what the haters say, i.e. following your heart, buying yourself a treat from the gas station, living. So is it about being a brat?
This is that's probably a quote from Charlie XCX that you're reading right now, right? Like people ask her like what does that mean? It sounds to me like I'm just going to give this a shot. Graylin, you can tell me if this is right or not. It feels a little bit like it's a response to Barbie summer last summer, which is everybody's wearing pink and
Okay.
put together. This is Brat summer where it's
Yep.
like I'm going to wear green. I think there's a green, something has to do with green with this, and I'm
Yeah,
gonna
it's
smoke a
green.
cigarette and I'm gonna party all night. And that's brat. I think that's
Got
brat.
it.
Yeah.
I see. Okay. Says stage one, initially the sign is a reflection of basic reality. Stage two, the sign masks a basic reality. The image wait,
No,
what am I
I don't
reading?
think this is it.
Sorry.
I think it has more to do with wearing a white t-shirt with no
I
bra
get it.
on,
Okay,
is
Brat
what
Girl
brat
Summer.
is.
All right.
Yeah, okay. But it's over. We don't
All
have to
right.
talk anymore about brat summer. It's over. We're in fall. The autumnal equinox is tomorrow. And we have more important things
That
to talk about.
yeah.
which is
Okay,
we're
that was
talking about.
perfect for middle-aged stuff, dude. Like
Yes, exactly.
perfect
That's
middle-aged dads. Try I mean, the we've talked about slang so many times, but the girls are saying so many things that I don't understand.
can you pull anything up right now? Are they saying skibbity? Are they
Um,
saying
well,
sigma?
they say skibbity,
Yeah, okay.
sigma,
Yeah, okay.
Ohio. They say
Yeah.
period all the time.
Oh, what's period? Like
Period. I don't know, like,
punctuation? Like I'm done with that
yeah, you'll be
sentence?
like, that's totally cool. Be like, period. Like, I don't know.
Okay. All right. Well, that's new to me. I hadn't heard that one. Um, okay. Well, this
Could be
middle-aged
Smyrna,
dads,
Georgia, dude. I don't know.
it could be. I mean, I have sat down with several Gen Zers and millennials and said, "What is brat?" And they have explained it to me, and I don't really know what it is. So I'm never afraid to do that. No, not me. I will ask,
No.
what does Sigma mean? What does Skibbity Toilet mean? Usually I regret asking those questions, but I always ask them.
Okay, here AI says the slang term period is used to emphasize a statement or to indicate that something is final or non-negotiable.
Yes, I figured it out.
Oh no, but that's not this. Yeah,
Oh,
but that's not this because it says cheating is wrong. Period. I don't know. We'll ask Lily.
well, I guess what they are explaining is what I would use period to say, right? Probably
Yep.
not what Gen Z is using it to say, unless that's what they mean. Period.
No,
I'm making an emphasis on this.
that's it.
It's
Like
done.
you know what? It's like 100, like 100%.
Okay.
I
Hundo.
think
Yeah.
it's like
Okay.
that.
Got it.
It emphasizes a statement or to indicate that something is final and non-negotiable. Like, haha, period. Okay.
I I wonder, Lindsay, if you're listening, if you think this would be a good survey question. Who is more hip, me or Anthony? Like,
Oh
who's
man.
more like with the times, me or Anthony? I do not know if anybody would even deign to answer such a question because like we are so not that.
That's
I don't.
such a fun one, dude. Um, because there are probably ways that we both are, and obviously ways that we both aren't. You spend a lot. You have a curious mind. You're always
Mhm,
asking them. I just
mhm.
listen to people say stuff, and I'm like, LOL.
Okay, great. Now
Um,
it might be an indication that I use the
and
word
you're always
hip.
looking for new stuff.
Right. I mean, I said,
Uh,
who's the most hip? That might be a
yeah,
indication that I'm not with it at this point.
that you're yeah. But that's what makes you hip, right? Because you
Yes,
don't care.
I guess so.
Stick with the lingo.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, here's what's happening in this
Super
episode.
skibbity.
We're about to go to the core, where we take a look at a way we're chasing midlife health, and this week is a big one. We're talking about empty nesting, something new.
Mm-hmm.
We've been teasing this
Yeah.
for a while.
Wow.
We're finally going to do it. We're going to end, of course, with what's giving us life this week, and of course, a ton of fun stuff along the way. But first, here on the Two Gomers podcast, we want to take big strides forward toward health, but part of that is celebrating the smaller moves we've made to get there. So now it's time for baby step of the week.
All right. Let's clap. One, two, three, clap.
Clap. One,
Oh
two,
no.
three, clap.
Clap.
Okay, let's move to the phone because I am feeling like there's a delay.
Yep.
Um, why don't you? Could you just? You know what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna lower my volume. So I'm not gonna mute
Okay.
you. I'm just gonna lower my volume so that we can still record into our mics. Is that okay?
Yep. Great.
Um, and we have to make sure that we are. Do you want to stop the recording real quick?
Now keep it going.
Okay.
Hold on. Oh
Or stopped
yeah.
anyway.
You're what?
Mine stopped anyway because I took my headphones
Oh,
out.
mine did too. You're right. Okay. 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 So I'm gonna
Let's
take
see.
that back
Just gonna save what we
to.
have.
Yep. So that was like, just go to 920
Check one, two.
even.
I just want to make sure that
What's that?
I'm just making sure this is still recording.
Right. Oh, right.
Check
Check,
one
check,
two. Check
check.
1 2.
Yep.
Right.
Great. So that's working.
Okay. I'm turning you down on this, so I'm not going
Save
to hear you
that.
anymore.
Okay. Okay. Check, check, check.
Okay.
Hey, dude. Okay, so I'm hearing you through this. Now, not hearing anything. Oh, I see. Okay, now is Zoom
Yes,
still
it is.
recording
So
us?
just
It
turn
it
your
should be,
don't
right?
mute yourself. Don't mute me. Just turn your
Yep.
volume down on your computer so you don't hear any of that.
Yep.
Okay, great.
That's what I
So it
did.
should be still recording us, I hope. Okay,
Yep,
great.
should
Because
be. As long as we see the red
yep,
in
yeah, that's true.
GarageBand, we're
And the red,
good.
I can see also the mic on Zoom going up and down.
Check, check, check. You can. Oh yeah,
Okay.
I can see that too.
So that means our mics are
Duh,
still up,
great.
but our volume is down, so it's still recording. So that makes me feel great about this.
Great.
Okay, awesome.
All right. So you at 9:20?
9:20.
Perfect. All right, let's do it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, click. Okay. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. 1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. So
Okay,
now it works perfectly.
works great. Well, no, but I heard it way sooner in my headphones than I saw it on the screen. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, really? Okay, so
Yep.
that's good.
Yep, that's great.
This feels way better, dude. I mean,
Like uh, I've got you right away, so that's way better. Yep.
it's like a normal conversation.
Yep. Okay, good.
All right, baby step. Oh,
Yep.
yeah, here we are. All right, I'll start.
Okay.
All right, here we are in baby step of the week.
Hello.
Now, you texted me yesterday
Mhm.
and you were like, dude, is it cool if we do baby step? And I was like,
Yep.
sure.
I
So
think I think we
why don't you
actually
start?
are on a rotation, but I always forget where we are. So I think we go tip,
Okay.
baby step, song to run to. Now, I
Okay.
can't guarantee that that's true, so I probably should have looked back, but I do think that that's the rotation. So we are on baby step of the week. When I do a baby step, my favorite thing is when it's connected to something big we've talked about on past episodes and ways that I
Yeah.
have been able to get there in baby steps. So this is off of the Get Back on the Horse app that we did in, I guess it was in July,
Okay.
right?
Great.
Um, and
Yeah.
so you inspired me because you got out there, ran that 10K, and I did what I hope
Mm-hmm.
listeners do, which is I thought about, okay, how does that apply to me? What horse do I need to get back on? Um, so I've been to
Mm-hmm.
the doctor a lot, and a lot of times it
Yep.
is due to my legs hurt, my knee hurts, my foot hurts, and for probably 3, 4, 5 years now. Well, no, it's been 3 years since we did our last half together, which was in Atlanta. It's about
Mm-hmm.
3 years now. Um, every time the doctor says something, I know, which is if you're gonna run when you're your age, you need to do strength training. If you're gonna be running the
Mm-hmm.
distances you're doing, you have to you have to work on your actual muscles. And I'm just like, I don't
Yeah.
wanna. That's I don't say that to the doctor, but I'm
Right.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. And whenever I go back, he asks if I've done that, and I have to say no. It's not even a dentist thing where I can say sometimes once in a while I floss. It's just like I don't.
Yeah.
And so after that episode, I was like, I need to get back on the horse. So 3 years ago, speaking of 3 years ago, Coach Laura put like pointed us toward these videos from
Yeah.
I think it's called the Running Channel, right? These two British people, Andy and Anna,
Oh yeah. Yep.
just in their
Yep.
living room during COVID, doing these strength training circuits for runners. And it took a little searching because it had been so long, but it was in my
Yeah.
history. And so I was able to see, oh, yeah, those are the videos I watched. And so for the past month, I have been baby stepping my way back into strength training. I did it once.
Nice. And this is all body stuff, right? Like, are
Nope,
there
it's all,
weights
yeah,
or
good question. It's all, you don't need weights at all. It's all like, what do you call that? Just like body stuff. I guess it is you just use
yeah.
your body weight, right? Which for some of us is
Right.
a significant thing to use, right? Um, but
Yep.
yeah, you don't need any weights. And it's about a 30-minute video that's with warm up and cool down. And I was like,
Yep.
oh, I'll probably be able to start this 3 times a week. And I did it once. And for 2 days, I was like C3PO and walking around, not being able to go down or upstairs. Um, so I was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's enough. Baby steps, right? I'll do it once a week. So
Baby
then the
step.
next week I did it
Great.
twice. And then now I am up to 3 times.
Hmm.
And Nation, I don't know why I don't remember that this helps
Yeah.
so much. It just improves my running form. I'm way less sore after I run, way less injury prone as far as I can tell at this point. I feel so much stronger. And so sometimes baby steps for me is something you said in an episode, maybe want to do something. I have to remember oh yeah, I've done that before, and then I have to
Yeah.
work myself up to it again. So that's my baby step of the week. I have been working
Hmm.
myself up to strength training again, and it's been awesome. And I'll put a link in the
That's
description
awesome.
of the workouts that I use from the running channel. It helps that
Great.
they're British for some reason.
Yeah. Sounds smart.
Right, exactly. They are somehow more advanced than me because they have a British accent.
They have that
Yeah.
accent, man.
So there it is. There's my baby steps. A little bit of strength training. What about you?
Great. Okay, so my baby step also, as usual, harkens back to something that we talk about a
Hmm.
million times. My baby step is just do it now. I mean, I literally had that as one
Mm.
of my words
Okay.
for a year,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now. And so like the kind of inspiration came actually
Okay.
from Isla, our
Mm-hmm.
9-year-old. And one of the jobs that they have to do when they come home is empty
Okay.
their lunchbox. So empty their lunchbox,
Mm-hmm.
throw out their stuff, you know, um, and like that's like, put your shoes away,
Yeah.
hang up your jacket, right? In an
Mm-hmm.
ideal world, okay, like
Yeah.
those things all happen. Um, and so I came home and none of that had happened. And I was like, Isla, why didn't you just do that? And she's like, I will after
Yeah.
this or
Yep.
after that. And so I said, why don't you just do it
Yeah.
now? Like, because once you do it, it's done. And then you can watch your show or you can play your game or you can go play
Yeah.
with friends and
Yep.
it's done. And almost every time I'm, you know, coaching or teaching our girls or hanging out with them, the kind of things that
Yeah.
parents do, it's usually it's like one finger pointed at you, one,
Yeah.
it's really you're trying to like, why don't I do it now?
Well, and it does help
You
to
know what I
be
mean?
telling
Like,
somebody. We talked about this and pour into someone else, right? You
yep,
are like, well, if I'm giving this
yep,
advice to somebody else, I better do that baby step
yeah,
myself. Yeah.
right. And so we talked about that even on the Napoleon
Yep.
results that we just did. Which
Hmm.
congratulations, Napoleon. You're going to
Yep. You
going to
did
the
it.
bonus disc. But that we have screen rules at night, but then I don't always follow them myself. Yada yada. So, but basically, it's been said on the podcast so many times that I'm a major
Hmm.
procrastinator. It's just it's something where it's really hard for me. I don't know what it is. Why don't you just do it now?
Yeah.
I don't know. Um, and one of those classic memes or Instagram videos was like, the thing that's weighing you down is not doing the thing, it's the stress about waiting to do the thing or the stress about
Yeah.
the frog,
Yep.
right? In
Hmm.
our language, like over your head is actually the thing that's
Yeah.
causing you stress, not the actual doing
Hmm.
of the thing. And so I like before we went on our tour, which was really long, I finished a ton of
Yeah.
stuff. And now Erin's laughing if she's listening to this because she's now a regular listener to our podcast, and she's like, "Yeah, right.
Well,
What
I
did
mean,
you
so
do?"
I will say you edited the Napoleon Dynamite episode before you left, which like
Yeah,
was weeks in advance. I don't know if I've ever seen you do that before.
no. So exactly. So I really did like,
Yeah.
like I finished all my podcast stuff, like weeks worth of work.
Yep.
I made like I don't know, 30 reads.
Hmm.
Um, I prepped a bunch of stuff, and it was that Isla conversation
Hmm.
of like Isla, like why don't you just do it
Hmm.
now? Uh, and man, dude, I don't know. This could also be in life giving because I was gone for almost 3 weeks, and one of my frogs is
Hmm.
editing podcasts, and that was
Right.
non-existent, and that felt really
Yeah.
great. Um, and and so I'll come back to it a little bit in life giving because I have one other
Okay.
thing that's been really
Yeah.
helping with this. But the just do it now, I don't know if the stress of the things on
Mhm.
people's to-do list
Oh
is
yeah.
so heavy, and it's like it's weird. It takes so little time sometimes to do
It
one of
really
those
is
things.
baby steps sometimes that have
It's a baby
huge
step.
impact because it's actually something you get to cross off. So, Aaron, if you're listening, I know
Yeah.
that you're probably laughing, but I was a recipient of the baby step here where I was like, "You did?" when you said you sent me the completed episode, I think maybe on the
Yeah.
plane or something. And I was like,
Before I
"Hello."
even like I almost didn't bring my
Wow.
laptop on the tour. The only reason I did was so that I could watch The Firm and Deep Impact and Night They Saved.
Well,
Like that was
no one blames you for that. All right, dude, should we head over to the core?
all
Okay.
right, let's do it. So
That's good.
dumb. I had a good friend that's in his 60s say that he heard about the podcast and he's been listening and he loves it.
Oh,
And
that's
I'm like, he's
awesome.
a really smart, serious guy.
Yeah.
And I
Okay.
was like, I don't know, you might like, and he said to me the other day, he was like, dude, I've been listening. It's awesome. I was like,
Oh, great. I
wow,
love it.
that's cool.
Sweet.
So I'm just like wondering what a joke like you brought your laptop to watch a dumb movie.
Oh man, it's
Okay.
us. That's how we are.
Yep.
Yep. All right,
Totally.
great.
All right. So this core, dude, it's all you. I've got nothing.
That's fine. I wouldn't expect you to, but I do want you to,
Of course.
if you're curious about something, I'm not gonna barrel through. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll
Of
talk
course.
about what I have time to talk about.
Yep.
Okay, great.
So we're at 20. You want to go to 50?
I think so. Yeah, that would be helpful. So 51, if we could go to 51, that gives us a full half an hour, and then
Perfect.
I can tighten things. As we're even entering into this, I do think I want to edit this episode.
Okay.
It just
I
if I have that
thought that.
mentality going into it, then I know that if I say anything I didn't mean to say, I can edit it out. You know?
Perfect. Okay.
Okay, great.
I thought so. All right. Here we go. Let's clap.
Okay,
1, 2, 3,
clap.
clap.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap.
Great.
Ridiculous. All right. I got a thing. Hey, how's it going over there? Hope you're doing good. Even non-alcoholic beer tastes better in
Is
Cleveland.
that what you're cracking?
So,
A non-alcoholic beer?
it's literally all I had in my room,
But
dude.
why? Why do you even have it in your hotel room in Cleveland? You just brought it up in the car?
Um, so, I brought some Atlanta like
Yeah.
local beer to dole out to a
Yes,
few of my
okay. I
friends that
get it.
like to
Yep,
try
for
that kind of
sure.
stuff. And so I just threw some six packs that I had, and that I picked up at
Hmm.
Publix. And of course, I got to bring my NA, dude. My Athletic Brewing Company Free Wave Hazy
Yeah.
IPA. It's a 40-calorie
And you knew that
wonder.
we were recording an episode too, so you had to have something to crack.
I
Yep.
had to have something, but that was it. Or it was regular beer, and I'm not
No,
going to drink
probably a
that
good
right now.
idea.
So I'm giving that
Yeah,
away.
definitely. That's a great
So
idea for a gift when you're traveling is local
yeah,
brews.
people like that. Yeah, for sure.
Um,
It's
okay, here
fun.
we are in the core, where we dig deeper into a core habit, discuss a core practice, or answer a core question around healthy aging. This week, empty nest. I was thinking about our episode titling structure, which I am a real stickler about, as you know.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
when it's a non-question episode, I need because this is what I set up. I need the title to be a directive, right? Your have a good night
Uh-huh.
or
Yep.
travel light, right? There's a directive verb in that. I was thinking, what am I gonna name empty nest? And you'll hear more of the process later about this. Embrace your empty nest, something like that. And then I was like, no, actually, nest is a verb. And so this is the
Hmm.
directive. If you are an empty nester, the director is go on ahead and just empty nest.
Huh.
And part of this
Okay.
is because this is a in process episode. And so I don't know if I can speak very well to embracing empty nest yet.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's like when you and I did a bonus disc episode about fatherhood, and I had a 2 month old
Well,
or
yeah,
whatever.
or it's all these episodes on our note that are episodes I really
Yeah.
want to get to, but you have the parenthetical afterwards that says later though.
I know.
Sometimes we're in process and we're not
It,
ready to talk about these things, right? And you even texted me a couple days ago,
yep.
like, are you sure you want to do this? Right? Are you ready for this episode?
Right.
And thanks for asking. I mean, I really appreciate that because I think that both of us are feeling this is new, it's raw, just like Kylo
Yep.
Ren is. Um, raw
Raw.
power. Um, uh, but I've really wanted to talk about it for a long time. It is in process, but I also know that it's a huge reality for a lot of our listeners of the podcast. I mean, if we are recording a podcast for midlifers, right? Which I
Yep.
know a lot of our
Yep.
listeners are, not all. I mean, we just got a such an amazing message from Natalie, a new listener who she
Yeah.
I think Natalie's in her 20s, right? And she just for some reason really likes us. And likes us so
Mm-hmm.
much that she sent us a message about it. So amazing. But I
Yep.
would say that a bulk of our listeners are our age or older. And so this is a
Mm-hmm.
reality in many of their lives that we just haven't been able to talk about really because we don't have personal experience about it until now.
Yep.
Um, Also, just our listeners traditionally have really liked to hear what we're in process around.
Yeah, it's fun in a sense because you're not on the other side, so it's really real. It's really like, you know, like when you look backwards a lot of times, you can remember it with
Oh yeah, for
rose-colored
sure.
glasses, right? Like right now, like the nostalgia thing that I keep sending Chad. Me and Chad just send nostalgia things back and
Right, yeah.
forth. Like West Town Mall in
Yeah, exactly.
1993.
This
Uh,
is not that. This is whatever West Town Mall looks like right now, which I probably would hate.
yeah, I know,
It
totally.
actually, as you're saying that, it reminds me of what people loved about us from the get-go, which was we're in process, right? We don't know what running a half marathon is like yet. And
Yep. Is that what the podcast is, dude? Like two guys in
well,
process?
I guess we're chasing healthy aging, right? We're embracing,
Yep.
trying to embrace healthy aging. We're in process around a lot
Yep.
of this stuff.
Right.
Um,
Yep.
so the directive to people is, as far as I could do it, is just like you're empty nesting, go ahead and empty nest. And I hope that's what comes out in this. Um, that
Hmm.
my question has been since my boys have officially been out of the house, both of them. So you can't empty nest until all your kids are gone. I think that's true, right? And so that
Mm-hmm.
has happened. We talked a lot a couple years ago about Noah leaving my first, and that was hard. And now Jack has is out of the house, and it is a whole different deal. I also was thinking about people have
Hmm.
known Jack who have been listening to this podcast. People have known Jack since he was 2. People have heard
Mm-hmm.
me talk
Yep.
about my kids since they were Jack was just Jack was 2.5 and Noah was 4, about to turn 5. And
Yep.
so
Wow.
I think for some folks, they've been in this process with me. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
A weird part of our, not
Yeah.
weird bad, weird good actually, that people have been part of the process with me. And so hopefully it won't be like, huh, why is this guy talking about this? This this it feels like it fits in a lot of
No.
ways, the podcast at this point.
Yeah, and also this is one of those where I'm trailing behind, and so I not behind because I'm late, although that happens
No,
from
just
time to time.
like
Um,
actual time, space-time continuum.
yeah, so I can learn. I mean, this is one of the things Kaz and
Hmm.
Amy have said many times.
Yeah.
Well, Kaz specifically, like I'm learning from what you
Yeah.
guys have gone through. We're mapping out
Hmm.
some territory, and there are things that have been amazing, and then things that we probably would have done differently. And so the same goes in this case for me and you, even though you're only a year older, you're doing a few
Hmm.
stage things
Right.
way before
Sure.
me.
Yeah, because
And so,
just in case people are new listeners, I mean, your oldest is turning 13
yep,
next week, basically, from when this episode comes out.
yep,
My oldest is turning 21 a day later. Uh,
yep,
and so that's an 8-year difference.
yep.
But our youngest are even more far apart. So Jack's almost
Uh huh.
19 and you've got a 9-year-old. And so um,
Yep.
when you guys empty nest, I did the math, you'll be
Mm-hmm.
55 or 56. I'm
Wow.
46 empty nesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so I guess maybe this is a good opportunity for me to also say this. This feels like a very descriptive and not prescriptive episode, even though I love the directive of the titles, right?
Yep.
I know that my situation, and I know this because I feel this very deeply right now. My situation is different than
Mm-hmm.
anyone else's empty nest situation. And yours will be very different than mine. Because, for instance, you have two girls
Right.
and not two boys. You'll be
Yep.
56 and not 46. We are,
Yeah.
just in case anybody needs to hear this out loud, you and I are very different people. I mean, if you need any indication of us being different, subscribe to the bonus disc at the 6.2 level and listen to the latest Tony's Top 10 European tips. I I am just, my jaw is on my desk trying to chase Anthony around this episode. If I were to do a Steven's Top 10, I would have, for instance, 10 tips.
Yeah. Start with the first thing
I
is
would
just have
probably have
10.
started talking about them pretty early in the episode. But no, we have 25 minutes in. Anthony is not talking about tips yet. And I think there are, I mean, this is another survey. I was thinking about having Lindsay ask people how many tips were in that episode. I think dozens. So you and I are very different. Everybody is, right? Their context is different,
Yeah.
where they live, how they were brought up, how they brought their kids brought up,
Totally.
how they brought their kids up.
Mm-hmm.
Their kids, my kids have their own personalities, and so their leaving
Totally.
is going to be
Mm-hmm.
different on me than other kids leaving on them. And I have an extremely
Yep.
unique personality also. And so the way I'm dealing with this is
Mm-hmm.
very different, I think. So all that to say, you and I are different. I know everyone is different. And so
Yep.
it doesn't feel like here's Steven's top 10 tips on empty
Right.
nesting
Right.
well. First of all, because I
Mm-hmm.
don't know that I'm doing that. And second
Mm-hmm.
of all, it's not going to work for everybody. Um, and so I
Yep.
think that what I want to share is just a little bit of what I'm going through. I think my biggest hope would be that other folks that are going through this right now won't feel so um, won't feel so crazy, because there have been times when I'm like,
Mm.
should I be feeling the way I'm feeling? And so I hope people can
Mm,
hear that I'm feeling some things pretty strongly, and that's okay. And I do think it's helpful
yep.
for people approaching this to also hear those things. Um, and so I think the one of the big things that's been going on is I have needed to enter into and live into empty nesting healthily is I've needed to be okay with how I am feeling about this. Um,
Mm,
I would say the only other time I've been such a victim to cliche and how people think I should be
mm,
feeling about this is when we first had kids,
okay.
where you just like hear how you're supposed to feel and you're like, I don't feel that way. And so is there something wrong with
Mm,
me? Like I remember getting this really funny and I'm making air quotes nation. All these like
yep.
funny new parent cards like with like cartoons of like really disheveled parents on the front and then in the inside it'll be like it'll turn around, right? And it was like supposed to be funny and I remember looking at those pictures like saying that's how I feel and I hate my life. Stop giving me funny cards. Like we would talk about like
Yeah.
do we even like our babies? Like I don't think I like my babies. I love them but I do not like them. um having a baby for the first time is so much more than a cliche, right? It's the same things I was just talking about. Everybody's different and everybody
Yep.
has a different experience.
Yep.
The empty nest cliches are like I don't know, like oh, you must be so happy because now you can make a man cave out of your son's room.
Right. Yeah, that seems like the ones that I see the most because I think our algorithm because we share
Yep.
an Instagram account
Right.
for the
Yep.
two Gomers, like the like search it or the discover whatever
Is it the for
whatever the
you
thing is
page or
called
is
where you
that
look. Yeah,
maybe
maybe
that's
it's the for
TikTok. I
you.
don't know. I don't have TikTok, and I'm hardly uh, uh, humble brag. I'm hardly on Instagram
Yeah,
anymore, but I think it is that, right? Like
I barely do
it
that
it
anymore.
like the algorithm
Uh,
shows you things that you might like, right?
yeah,
Yep.
and it's always like that's the main trope is that wow, your life is free now.
Yeah, yep.
And
You're right. That's the kind of thing I'm talking about.
that like super, I don't know. So I'm not there. This is your episode.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't sound to me like what I would feel like at all.
So
I
I
mean, maybe on some level. And actually, we had somebody in the
yeah.
feedback say
Mm-hmm.
that it was a combination. Shoot, where is that? Is that down in our?
It's in the listener
Um,
feedback. Yeah, it was. Let's see. A weird. It was Amy. Weird mix. Amy
yeah,
Becken. Weird mix of panic and freedom. That's pretty good,
that's what
actually. Good job.
that is really good. I mean, well, you're the one feeling
Well,
it,
the thing I
but
love most about it is the weird mix part because you could put and you'll
uh-huh,
hear because I've
yeah,
been trying to identify these kinds of things, Amy, about like what are the things and the mix doesn't make any sense. Panic and
sure,
freedom sounds like a contradiction almost, but that's what this feels
uh-huh,
like right now. I am a sea,
mm-hmm,
an ocean of contradictions right now in how I feel.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, and that is frustrating to me because I love being able to explain clearly how I'm doing and how I'm feeling, and I have not been able to do that for months, years maybe.
Hmm. Mm-hmm. Ever since the Arrival
It's
episode, dude.
certainly ever since it's been about 2 years ago where I think Jack grew up overnight. I think I've talked about this. He was a kid one night and he
Yeah.
just wasn't the next day. And
Yeah, and you said he left a year or two before you
right.
thought he was going
And
to, so you
that
weren't
might be
prepared.
the experience of some folks. He didn't leave physically, right? But our we were so close. I mean,
Right.
I even went back and listened to my episode about Noah leaving, and I said something about how devastated I was going to be when Jack left because he and I were best friends, right? Now our relationship is different
Mm-hmm.
and it changed
Yep.
very suddenly and it was very jarring. And the sea of contradictions part about this is that he's an amazing kid and I love him and he loves me. but things
Yep.
changed and I wasn't ready for it. And so
Mm.
since then, I have been like, what? How do I feel? Who am I? So I
Right.
loved Amy when you said weird mix because that's pretty
Mm.
accurate how I'm feeling. I think maybe I interrupt something else you were gonna say, maybe not.
No, I was just saying about the
Mm-hmm.
tropes of yay, man cave, or yay, now you can just travel
Yeah.
all the
Yep.
rest of your life or whatever. And I don't anticipate like I mean, I don't know. That never that joke like
Yeah.
never lands with me. 'Cause, like when you're hanging out with the
Right. Yeah.
fellas or whatever, and it's like, yeah, this and that, burp a
Yeah.
derp derp. And then one of the jokes is, I can't wait till they leave. Or man, it's gonna be so nice
Yep.
once, they go to college and that just for me, that one never
Yeah.
ever
So I would
lands.
say the closest I did get to feeling that way was when I didn't like my babies, right? Like, okay, now I can't wait till they're
Right.
gone. Like, I'm not ashamed of saying that, right? Like, one night of not not having to entertain an unentertainable person, you know what I mean? Would be really nice. Um, and I just want to say maybe people do feel like when they're my age, I know actually that people do feel like happy when their kids leave, like really happy. Um,
Yep.
and there's again a gamut of emotions around this, right? Some people are thrilled, some people are so devastated that it destroys them.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of
Exactly.
marriages fall
Yeah.
apart around
Yep.
this time. And yeah, dude, that joke works for some people and totally do like that's great. Like I don't want to say I'm
Well, and for
better
some people, it's
or
not even a
I'm
joke.
more sensitive.
They've been needing a home gym, and now now that their kid is out of the house, they can make one, right?
Right.
There's
Sure.
also people
Yep.
that I think just don't carry their way. Now, this feels like maybe more of a boomer thing or even a greatest generation thing, where it's just like, mm, just they left, okay, right? And
Yep.
so uh, I have realized that most cliches don't fit how I'm feeling.
Hmm.
And also, and uh, people that I've spoken to just don't take this personally, but I will just say most advice I've gotten about this from folks has not been helpful.
Mm.
Because it doesn't, and that is not your fault, anybody that's given me advice about this. It's just this situation is so unique to every person that
Mm.
whether somebody's gone through it or not, they have advice to give that I'm like, but it's so unique to me that that doesn't really work.
Mm.
And so the first thing that I've had to do, and like I said, this is descriptive, not prescriptive, is be okay with that.
Mm.
That this is a really unique thing that I'm going through, even though billions of parents have gone through this throughout
Yep.
history.
Yep.
My pain is unique. Um, and um, and that's okay. So then I have to be okay with that. That's the first thing that has been helpful for me in entering into empty nesting and health. And then the second thing is to actually figure out what it is I'm feeling. So once I'm okay with it,
Okay.
then I feel like something that's been helpful for me is actually to identify, name, live into what it is that I actually am feeling. So, best thing I did all
Mm.
summer in preparation for Jack moving out of the house, which he did a couple months ago, now, was I took a 48-hour retreat, silent retreat
Mm.
by myself. And by silent, I mean, well, actually, it was pretty extreme. I didn't listen to any music, no podcasts. It was just me, a journal, my
Mm.
Bible,
Hmm.
some old journals I decided to bring with me,
Mm.
um, and a couple retreat guides.
Cool.
And I just went into it just asking God, would you help me figure out how I feel?
Mm.
Because
Wow.
nothing is worse for me, this is descriptive again, than knowing I feel something And that something is disruptive to my life and painful, but I don't know what it is.
Mm.
And so I need, as a person that values language, maybe, or as a person that really wants to know myself, it's really important for me to know what I'm feeling. So on this retreat, I figured out four things that I feel.
Okay.
So here they are, folks. And I'm hoping some of these things connect with people that are going through it. Top level is I'm sad. So I
Mm.
miss my kids. Um, and it's the little things, it's the rhythms of the day that just aren't there anymore. Um,
Mm.
Even when my relationship with my boys changed because they got older, I at least knew they were going to be coming home at night. And so whether it was one
Yeah.
word answers when they came home, having them in our house um, was important to me. I didn't know how important that was to me. And when
Yep.
they're not in the house anymore, I'm so sad. Um,
Mm.
and I'm sad about our relationship changing, even though they're awesome. And I think they would say, now, this is also kind of weird because who knows if they're going to listen to this episode. I do need to kind of probably be careful around this kind of stuff, but I think it's okay to say they would probably say, "Yeah, we've grown up. Our relationship is different." That is
Mm.
definitely harder on me than it is on them, right? And I can cast my mind back to when I was their age. I was like, "This is just who I am now."
Right. And you're like when you were that age and where they are now, they're heading out
Yes,
to discover the
that's
world.
very exciting for them.
And super, it's so
And it
exciting.
should
And
be.
then
I want it to be.
you're, of
Yeah,
course, well, yeah, yeah. And, but you're having a loss,
right. And so
you
that
know?
loss is making me very sad. And that's okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting that you said this about men and women because I do also think that I have felt that maybe Jessica has more permission to feel this way than I do. I should have it together or something as the dad.
Mm.
Um, because sometimes when I get together with dudes, it is that like, ugh, great.
Right.
And I just do
Right, I know.
not feel that way. And I just don't know how to tell manly guys that I am just so sad, weepy. Like it just hits me
Yep.
throughout times of the day. Mornings are really hard
Yeah.
because
Mm.
I would wake up with and I would see them out. I haven't made a lunch
Yeah.
and that sucks. So I'm sad. That's the first one.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is
Mm-hmm.
going to be vague, but I think it's important to say for parents listening, which is I had hopes for and expectations of my boys that I did not realize until those weren't met. And that
Mm.
has made me feel hurt and confused and afraid. Um,
Wow.
there are I talked to you off podcast about this scaffolding that I built, which is I'm following a
Yep.
formula of how to raise kids. Probably a lot of this was given to me by
Yep.
the evangelical church. If you do this with your
Mm-hmm.
kids, they will act this way for the rest of their lives. And the
Yeah.
scaffolding and the formula didn't work. And so that has
Mm.
made me frustrated, I think, is in particular with God, even more than with
Mm.
them and with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so there's that, and that feels really complex, but I was able to name it. So that was really helpful to me. The third thing is that I
Yeah.
cannot figure out how to explain this well. I already talked about this because
Yeah.
everything I say sounds like a contradiction. And so that's frustrating to me as a language person. That makes me feel frustrated and isolated and lonely because part of the way I
Mm.
connect with people is describing to them what's going on. And I can't describe this. And some
Yeah.
people are like, they can't get it. And that is the reality. And it makes me feel alone. And then
Mm.
the fourth thing is I don't know how to move forward into the next stage of my life because of the things that I'm holding on to from the past. And that feels disorienting. and defeating a little bit for
Hmm.
me. Um,
Hmm.
so that's a lot of, if I were to reread all those emotions, I'm sad, hurt, confused, afraid, frustrated, isolated, disoriented, and defeating. That sounds pretty bad. I recognize that.
Uh-huh.
But you got to trust me, Nation. Being able to say those things out loud is extremely therapeutic
Mm.
and helpful for me. To have written those
Mm.
down when I'm feeling confused, to go back to where I wrote those down and say, okay, that's why I'm feeling this way. And I need to be okay with that right now.
Mm. Yeah.
And it's okay if I feel that way as a man. And
Yep.
it's okay if I talk about these things to people and I'm a man. I was talking to my pastor the other day because there's always like men's breakfast, or women's
Yeah,
tea,
I know.
right? And so I was
You're
like,
right.
I've got a
Yeah.
pitch for you, Chris. What about beta male tea? So, because at men's breakfast, they're always eating bacon, which I'm not doing right now because I'm on the Mediterranean diet. They're throwing axes, stuff like that. They're
Yep.
like
Yep.
shooting guns. And I'm like, I'm not interested. Sorry, guys. I mean, I've done a
Yeah.
axe throwing, which
No,
is
I
fun,
know.
but you know what I mean. It's like, is there a
Yeah.
place where I can go and drink tea and cry with
Yeah.
other
Is there a
guys?
place where yeah. Right. I mean, guys do have you know, like a hard time
Yeah.
sharing this stuff because I don't know what it is. Um, if it's that you want to look put together, if it's that you want to look strong. And a lot of these are
Yeah.
just cultural things, cultural tropes, and especially I don't know if the Southwest is extra on
Um,
that.
yeah, probably. I
Um,
mean, we're
I mean, I think the
Yeah, I
South
think
is
so
actually
too.
too.
But so was the Midwest. I mean, trying to talk about this
Yeah.
one sometimes in my church in the Midwest with like a whole bunch of like Lutheran farmers, where it's all work ethic and it's
Uh-huh.
all. I was just like, uh, I like I like
Yeah.
Sleepless in Seattle. Anybody else? You've got mail. Hello.
Right. Remember when she
Oh my
peels that
gosh, I can
apple
hardly
in
hold it
one
together when she
peel?
peels that
I know.
in one
The
long
scene where,
strip.
yeah, she visits him
Oh
on New
wow.
Year's Eve.
I'm tearing up right now again. Trying to hold
Um,
myself together.
I
Um,
know.
so I think kind of overall, I just wanted to say that that's what I wanted to say is that this is really hard. It's really complex. I see you, nation, moms and dads who are going
Mm,
through this. I have some like tips in quotes that maybe I can just
okay.
close with. Um,
Great.
again, these are things that I did. Maybe you need to do something else. Maybe you need to go throw an axe or shoot an animal. It could be, right? Some people are just built that way.
Right.
They have more testosterone than I do, which is another episode idea I have. Two Gomers get their T levels checked.
Maybe you're more hit, but I
I
have
think
more
maybe
tea.
you do. We have talked about that off the podcast.
You know
I
what
know what
brat
brat
means.
means. Well, sort of.
Um, but I could
But you
but I could
you
throw an
have
axe
higher
with the
T.
best of
Okay. Beta male T, but what we're doing is we're getting our testosterone checked. Um, right.
the T zone.
Okay, so the first thing that I did that was helpful is I took that time alone to sort through what it is that I was feeling. Name
Mm,
it, just like when we did runner's block, it was so helpful to name the block, to name the fear, to name
yep.
what I'm going through
Yep.
emotionally. That was just a massive piece of my moving forward into health. And that takes time alone, I think, first. Well, I think that because I'm an introvert, probably. But first, I had to take time alone and just listen to myself and to God. And then I had to run it by some people who knew me well, wouldn't judge me, wouldn't jump to conclusions. Um,
Hmm.
and so you're one of those people. Hack
Hmm.
was one of those people. Roger was one of those people. Jessica, of course, was one of those people, um, and others. And just to be able to say them out loud and for people to say, yeah, that sounds right. Um,
Mm.
the second tip is to, once you've done that, to grieve in your grief. Don't
Mm.
compare your grief to other people. The worst thing at this point for me to do is to say, well, I don't have it that bad. And so I have no right to be sad, right?
Right.
So at
Yep.
least my kid is doing great in school. Both of them are. At least they're not in trouble in any way. They're not in jail. They're not dead, right?
Right. Yep.
Some people say those things to me, and I know
Right.
it's out of care for me, but it's just not helpful. I need to be able to be sad
Right.
for the reasons that I have said. And so I want to encourage people out there to be sad. Don't let platitudes rob you of grieving.
Mm.
The third one is that my word for the year is embrace.
Right.
And I think I have misinterpreted that in this to mean approve. So
Mm.
maybe your kids, listener, are doing things that, making decisions that you wouldn't have made, didn't make when you were young. Um, and I was like, I need to embrace those, which meant to me I need to approve of those. That's not true. I need to live in the
Hmm.
reality of what's happening because, as my counselor Roger says, that's where God lives. God does not live in your fake constructs, He lives in what's actually happening in life. And so, the more I
Mhm.
embrace reality and live in that, that's good. And then I decide how to respond in love. And
Mm.
there is an absolute has come into my life, which is that I don't take control from my adult kids and I don't take their choices away. Because if I
Hmm.
have learned anything from empty nesters, that almost never works unless you are in a very extreme, that kid is damaging themselves or the people around them situation. The
Hmm. So let them make
Even
their
if the
decisions.
mistakes they're making are not the ones that you planned on them making. That feels very several levels down for them, but I've counseled parents for 25 freaking years around this stuff. Let your kids
Yeah.
make their
Right. As
mistakes. What I've realized, especially when this has happened to me, is I had mistakes in mind that they would make, but I would be okay with.
mm, uh
And so I
yep.
have to love them and not take control or choice away from them, even when the mistakes they're making, decisions they're making, are not ones that I would have thought would happen.
Mm, hmm,
And then one more bonus thing, this is just something that really helped, is to celebrate your kids. Um, I did this with Noah and I did it again with Jack, is I went back and I made a hour and a half montage from videos over their lives and we watched it
mm,
before they went to school.
yep, I
And
remember.
if your kids feel celebrated by you, instead of any number of alternatives, um, I have found that uh, it's been worth its weight in gold. So there is so
Hmm,
much to celebrate about my kids. They are the best. I couldn't be prouder of them. They're putting themselves through college. They are
hmm,
compassionate and kind and full of wonder, and um, everybody thinks that about them. Um, they're
hmm,
loyal, and all I can do, the best thing I can do is celebrate not only them, but this sounds weird, myself for pouring out into them and watching those things play out in
mm.
their lives. And so this is so hard. I mean, I, I, I can't make a man cave out of their room because I can't walk by their room without crying.
Right. I know. Yeah.
How am I supposed to put a what, like a football pennant in there? Yeah, right. A chair and watch TV.
They'd be like,
I
"Who are
know.
you?"
Um, it's hard, but I have been working equally hard to do this in a healthy way, and celebration of them has been a massive part of that. So there you
Hmm.
go.
Wow. Amazing, dude.
And you know what? There, Jack came over last night and watched Survivor with me.
Yeah.
So it's not
Nice.
the end of the world. That does sound like a platitude. And if it doesn't work on you, just let it roll off. But
Yep.
uh it's actually, oh, I this just gives makes me embarrassed to say because it also sounds like a platitude. It's also the start of something that I need to embrace. If there's something I'm going to embrace, it's what is something new that this is bringing
Yep.
not only into my relationship with them, but Jessica and my relationship. I want to recognize it makes a
Yep.
huge impact on a marriage.
Yep.
Um, and then I think I'll close with this. I do feel better today than I felt 2 months ago. So some of it is just
Mm,
pure jarring.
great. Yeah.
Like you just don't know what to
Yep.
do because you're like, it is such a massive, just like having a baby. You think you're ready for it, and you just aren't. Right? You
Yeah.
just sit there like,
Yep.
what the hell is this?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's all right.
Just took the major a
Mm,
jarring moment, and you've
yep,
got to
that's right.
recalibrate. Uh, I mean, dude, I love that platitude of every ending is a new beginning,
Mm-hmm.
because there is a lot of beauty in that.
Yeah, there is.
Um, and I'm glad that you were able to celebrate that even last night with Survivor.
Yep.
Um, because I mean, as much as we wish we could be at 1993 West Town Mall or
Yeah.
2003 watching Toy Story
Uh-huh.
3 or whatever,
Yep.
that time isn't around anymore.
Right.
Uh, and so savoring the memory, celebrating it, but then
Mm-hmm.
remembering that that's over.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's platitudey.
No, but if I think if grief is allowed to be a part of that, then it is not a platitude
Yes.
anymore, right?
Yep.
You
Yep.
recognize, like Amy said, the mix of emotions. Don't judge yourself on that. Allow yourself to go there and grieve and celebrate. And it is this crazy mix. And you just
Yep.
are, I am constantly asking myself, how can I respond in love?
Mm,
And how can I respond in health to these things?
mm,
All right.
great.
Should we close this up and talk about what's giving us life this week?
Awesome. Yes, let's do it. Great, dude. That was
Okay, good.
awesome. Really, really, really great. I think you're going to love
Okay,
that.
great. I'm just gonna be
Um,
watching for if I repeat myself over and over again. I think that's always what I'm most afraid of in these episodes. Like if I've said something, it hit
yeah.
well, and then I go back to it because I doubt that it hit well enough. So I might tighten it up in that way.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure.
All right.
Absolutely.
Can we clap here?
All right,
Okay.
let's clap
Great.
and close. One, two,
Clap.
three, clap.
1, 2, 3, clap.
Clap. Great.
All right. Here we are in what's giving us life this week. We always like to end on an high. What? I kind of saying that, but that's
Mm-hmm.
okay. Um, do you want to start? Wait, who went first on the? I went first. You start.
Okay, cool. I think I'm gonna pivot because I was gonna talk about the thing that's been giving me life is my printed out calendar. Everybody knows that I love my printed out calendars,
Yep.
and especially the big wall one
Oh yeah.
uh, that we love. But there's something about, like, I started it last week,
Hmm.
and I mean, it's my orchestra calendar.
Right.
So, I have every segment of every day from now until June pretty much planned out.
Mhm.
And that structure gives me so much
Yeah,
life.
for sure.
I absolutely love that. And next summer, I just have to get one of those
Yeah.
for the summer,
So it
because
really is a fall thing for you. I feel like you're printing out that
it is.
fall calendar. So what you're
I,
saying is
I,
that in the summer, what would it be like in the summer? Wow.
I know, because I don't have one for July and August.
Okay.
And I always feel a little bit like we have
Mm-hmm.
one, but it's like in our heads or written down on the big wall, but I need
Yeah.
that thing. Um, but I wanted to actually
Okay.
pivot. So there's a bonus. Okay, platitudes. Speaking of partner to platitudes, I want to shift to this platitude, and I'll take my 2 minutes of life giving to
Okay.
talk about it. Um, there's I love my sayings, and I do love platitudes. And there's this one, and our wonderful friends have this on their wall, and it says, "These are the good old days."
Oh yeah. Okay.
And I thought it was cheesy. I'm not gonna
Of
lie, I thought it
course.
was
Yeah.
cheesy.
And anything that somebody has printed up on on their wall sometimes is like fits in that automatically, especially if it's in the bathroom. Maybe the kitchen.
Oh,
I don't
right.
know. I don't know what's worse, but I
Yep.
get what you mean. Yeah.
Well, we have those
Sure.
two, and they're hard to
Mm-hmm.
choose. And actually, I don't know. And I've seen it on like posters and things like
Yep.
that. But I don't know if it like popped off the wall to
Okay.
me, and maybe it's part of what you and I've been talking about all summer about
Mm-hmm.
um, this empty nest stuff. But I'm like, it's so true,
Yep.
dude. These are the good old days,
Yep.
and it's like, shoot, it's
It's
true.
it's just another way of saying things that we say all the time. Be present, right? Like enjoy the
Yeah.
moment. Steve Martin's nostalgia for the present thing that he talks about,
Yep.
right? Like be here now. Mm,
Yep.
which kind of relates to your baby step too. Now.
Do it
Yep.
now. But the thing is, though, about that beautiful, slightly cheesy
Uh-huh.
saying is that it can be true for the rest of your
That's
life.
true. Yep.
Um, so it's not like, because the pressure I put on myself is like, these are the good old days. Okay, now enjoy
And it
it.
better be good.
Like, like you're gonna remember this for the rest of your life, so enjoy
Yeah,
it.
yeah, for sure.
Um, but at the same time, so it releases the pressure of thinking about the fact that your whole life is gonna be filled with those.
Yeah.
We're gonna be 80 someday, dude.
Yep.
Lord willing,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll remember now, but then we'll remember then.
Yep.
Um, but also, so it releases the pressure to think about it that way. But then also, it really does. I mean, I after all that we talked about just now,
Mm-hmm.
so I don't want you to feel bad about this. It's like I'm still in the lunch phase.
Oh man. I don't feel bad
And
about this at all, just so you know. I'm
okay,
jealous, but
yeah,
it's not in a resentful way. I don't know if that makes
yeah,
sense. Does that make sense, Nation?
no, yeah, yeah,
There's this longing for that in me again after all I said, but I do not begrudge you the fact that you are in lunch making
yeah,
stage. I love it.
yeah. Um, but
Hmm.
knowing that those things are going to
Hmm.
be over, um, it just really makes me want to savor it. And obviously, I'm not at home right now. And when I get home, the girls are gone for a week on
Oh
their fall
wow.
break, so I'm like not even going to see my kids for
You
10
might be
days or
feeling this
whatever.
extra strong
Um,
then right now. Yeah.
yeah. But man, that I've been really
Okay.
into
I
that
love
one.
it. I mean, just so you know, I love it when a saying pops out to you, and I think what's giving us life section is a great time to bring it up. Do you and Aaron
Mm.
have any sayings on like a board from Target or Hobby Lobby? Do you guys have any of those
Oh
in your
yeah.
house?
Well, I mean, we have some C.S. Lewis
Okay,
quotes.
it's great.
We have over our fireplace the last quote from the last Narnia
Mm,
book,
remind me of that.
which is, I wish I could remember it right now, but it's basically, you should find
I'm
it.
doing it right now.
The last, it's the last line of, you can edit right
Final
here.
quote from the last battle.
Yeah, that's it.
Here's what came up. You can tell me if this is it. He has spoke. He no longer looked to them like a lion. Is this it?
No.
But the things that began to happen after that were so great and beautiful that I cannot write them. And for us, this is the end of all stories, and we can most truly say that they all lived happily ever after. Is that it? Okay,
No. Something about every uh
I can cut all this out.
basically at the end of Narnia. Okay, okay, you can
Mm-hmm.
just cut it out. um just edit here. I mean, what it is they
Yeah.
go to heaven, and every day is better than the last. Um,
Everyday quote. End of Narnia.
last
Everyday quote.
line of last battle.
Oh, there it is.
This should not be
Um,
this hard, dude.
so I've got now at the last they were beginning chapter one of the great story, which no one on earth has read. Is
This is
that it?
it.
Okay.
That's
Here,
it.
so you want me to read that? Okay,
Here,
so I'm
you go
seeing
for
here
it.
it says, now at last they were beginning chapter one of the great story, which no one on earth has read, which goes on forever.
Hmm.
Jeez, I'm crying. In which every chapter is better than the one before. Okay, that's you put that above your mantle. I'm not going to complain about that.
Dude, like, I remember like weeping reading that with Lily for the first time.
Yeah, I mean that's that we read them out loud with our kids too. Last end of the last battle was a rough one to read out loud
Yeah,
in a
totally.
good way. Um,
Yep.
we have one that says life's better in the mountains that people see when they come in,
Mm,
and I was like, okay,
yeah.
that one feels like not too cheesy, completely how I feel about living
Yep.
in Flagstaff, and it also kind of is a little bit like we're better than you. I don't know how to explain it. Like life is like the mountains rule. It also helps me. You remember we talked about peak blindness? When you live near
Yep.
the mountains, you
Totally.
forget. And so I love reading that when I walk into my front door, and that just a nice kind of reorients me into, yeah, life is great here.
Totally. I know we're right now as we're thinking about kind of like finally redecorating our bedroom, like what
Yeah.
we want to put in there and like thinking about that stuff. Um I mean I love the lyrics from Simple
Mm-hmm.
Gifts, which we
Mm.
had at our wedding.
Oh, that's a great idea. Um, since we've been getting the New Yorker, um,
Mm,
a lot of their covers I'm really connecting with for some reason. So I've thought about framing some um,
sure.
non-political ones, unless I like
Yeah.
frame some political ones and just kind of like hide them when certain people come over.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
So, um, well, I love it, bro, and I love that quote. I was just curious if you had any quotes up. My what's giving me life is connected to my empty nest, and it's not this past week, but it's over the summer as we were approaching the boys leaving again for school and Jack going the first time. Um, I began to say I looked hard for live performances that the boys would want to go with me to.
Yeah.
And so we went to some great concerts together over the summer. Uh, and the week before week before Noah went back to school, we went to my first ever comedy show.
Oh
We went
yeah.
to see Joe Pera live.
Oh,
Um,
that's so
from Joe
awesome,
Pera
dude.
Talks with You. I was texting you about it where I was like, man, I'm hoping there's no opener. And there was, and it was cringe.
Mm.
Cringe during Brat Summer. That's right. You heard me right. Um,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
but Joe Pera himself, I was like, my stomach hurt, bro. Afterwards, I was laughing so hard.
Sounds
I don't
awesome,
know
dude.
that I will ever go to another comedy show because of the opener being so cringe
Uh-huh.
and raunchy, which I thought we were
Oh
safe
yeah. Yeah,
going
yeah.
to a Joe Pera show doing that, but I guess
Right.
whatever. Joe Pera, of course, was like 99% clean as a whistle. Um,
Yep.
but it was just like I was looking for new chapters, right? Unwritten chapters
Yep.
where I could. What I do is I just clock. I want to savor this. I file it away in some weird part of my brain, and I could name for you 20 times that I've done that throughout my life with them. And when we were at Joe Pera,
Yeah.
crying with laughter, I looked over at them and I said,
Uh-huh.
"This is the one I want to clock." Just I looked down, Jessica, Jack, Noah, like holding their insides in. They were laughing so hard, and I was like, I'm filing this one away. That gave me a ton of life this summer.
Yeah.
Yep,
That's so good. Dude, those are the
those are the
good
good
old
old
days,
days.
man.
Yep,
Right?
I did.
Clock it.
All right, everybody, we are wondering. I personally am wondering if there's anyone else that wants to add to this conversation about empty nesting. There's a lot of ways to contact us. The best way is on Instagram, instagram.com/2gomers. You can go to our bio and find our link tree there with lots of links to all things Gomers. You can call us on the Gomer phone. That number is
608-622-7669. That's 608
Don't forget to
NBA
rate,
Pony.
review, and subscribe or follow us on whatever podcast app you're listening to right now. In fact, I was just on Spotify and they now have a comment section that you can comment on every episode. If you want to leave us some comments there, we promise we'll read them. Thank you to Davis for our music, Jason and Eric for our graphics, Adam, our webmaster, and the oft mentioned Lindsay, our social media maestro. Um, Thank you especially to our Gomertrons. You subscribe to our second podcast, The Bonus Disc, on Patreon. That's not only home to our monthly movie show, Perfect Movie, where we are covering movies like National Treasure, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Napoleon Dynamite, and spooky season is back. We're doing Ghostbusters in October, but
Yeah,
extra episodes like
sweet.
August school supply draft and this past month's Tony's top 10, 10 is in quotes, European travel tips. Up to 4 episodes per month, depending on the level at which you subscribe, and including Anthony eating fast food in Vienna
Oh,
for our
yeah.
13.1ers.
Dude, that
Yeah,
Greek
that looks
burger.
so good. All that and more, much
So
more,
good.
is at patreon.com/twogomers. We welcome your support and we thank you.
Awesome, dude. That was great. Thanks for
No
sharing your
problem.
heart, man, and praying. And, we'll be talking
For
about it on the
sure.
phone. I'm so excited and interested to hear what the nation
Yeah,
has to
me
say about
too.
it.
Great app.
Super fun, man. And remember, everybody, if we can take some time to sort out our feelings, grieve in our grief, embrace, approve, no, live in
Mm-hmm.
the reality, and celebrate with video montages, go to Joe Pera
Know what brat
and
summer means.
know what Brat Summer means. And remember that these are the good old days, and there's so much more ahead. Also, you can
And
too.
happy running.
Oh, jeez. Okay, let's stop that. 1, 2, 3,
Wow.
stop.
Okay, great. Thanks, dude.
Great.
I'm going to stop recording this.
Yeah, dude.
Bye, everybody.
All right.